Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, so this was a special request by my brother, my little brother, and he wanted to know more about insurance. And it's funny because I actually work in insurance, and so I have a lot that I can offer in regards to this, and I haven't actually spoke about this on the channel, which is very, very disappointing. Why isn't the insurance guy speaking on how he can help people save money with his insurance policies, how he can better assist people in understanding what their deductible is, what their premium is, what all these things are, so that they can live better. And so today we're going to go over that for auto, health, and home insurance. These are all things that we deal with. Now, my health is taken care of by the military, in which I served my country in order to achieve and receive. However, I still have an auto payment and I still have a homeowner's insurance payment on multiple properties. So with that being said, we'll start off with healthcare, because I think that that is the most important, number one. And number one is your health. And so when we're talking about healthcare, a lot of the times people don't really understand what a premium is and how that really affects what they're getting and what is being offered to them. So a premium is something that you pay just to have insurance. It is you paying into the insurance just for the right to say, okay, I have coverage. And with a premium, that is something that most likely will come out of your check every week or every 2 weeks, depending on when you get paid. And so when you see that dental deduction or that vision deduction, those are the premium payments that you're making. It doesn't decrease how much you got to pay when you go to the doctor. It doesn't decrease how much the cost will be if you had to get a surgery done, but it allows you to just simply have the coverage. Now, when you have a deductible is something that must be met prior to you receiving a certain benefit. So that means if you are in network with a provider and you receive a discount of any kind, that is just a negotiated rate between the network, which is your insurance, whether it's Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or whatever insurance you may have, and versus the provider, which is the doctor. Provider, the doctor, or the hospital, that is the provider, someone who is providing you a service. So they have already negotiated that rate prior to seeing you. So let's say you were getting your skull cut open because there was something wrong with your brain and they had to take a look. A neurologist, a neurosurgeon had to take a look. And it's going to cost you 500 big ones, $500. Obviously, it costs more than that to do a brain surgery or to even take a look at the brain, right? And they would probably do an MRI of the brain instead of cutting it all open. But for the sake of this video, they're cutting it open and they're taking a look. All right? It costs $500 for that service. But because Aetna had negotiated with this doctor previously, the cost of the service is only $350. So that means there was a discount of $150. The insurance does not pay that discount. Aetna does not pay that discount. The provider does not receive that money. That is just what the provider negotiated in order to be in network. Why would the provider negotiate that discount into the cost of the service in order to be in network? Because if the provider is in network, the provider will get more business from these companies. So Aetna being a big company, Blue Cross Blue Shield being a big company, the provider gets more people coming to his or her service because they are in network. So when they call their company and say, hey, I want to go to an in-network provider, they go to that doctor, because they're already in network, they understand that they're getting a discount for being in network and that their insurance wants them to go there for a reason, because there's a benefit, right? And you don't want to be out of network because the coverage will be worse and there is no discount that will be provided to you. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will pay less at an in-network provider, but it means that there was a negotiated discount with that in-network provider that the out-of-network provider did not have negotiated. Now, an out-of-network provider might be willing to negotiate with you on a price, one-on-one. They might be willing to give you a set payment that is without insurance, but they are not obligated to do so because they are, again, out of network. And so they create their own prices at the drop of a dime. In-network providers also create their own price. However, they are still subjected to that contract that they signed with whatever network that they signed with. And so even if you haven't met your deductible, you are still able to get some sort of benefit just by simply being in network with an insurance company. Now, once you've met your deductible, you might still be liable for something called coinsurance. And coinsurance is when you pay a portion of whatever the service is, and the insurance now also pays a larger portion of what that service is. So as you are paying your portion, you are also meeting something that is called your out-of-pocket maximum. And maximum just stands for the max that you will pay for coverage. This is barring any out-of-network services that you might receive, as well as anything that is a plan exclusion on the policy. So as long as you are not excluded, you haven't met any of the limitations. So for example, if you can only do something for 20 visits, that's a limitation. You have a 20 visit limitation. If you stay within that limitation, if you don't have any exclusions on the policy, like for example, I want to get my eyes to look green permanently, and that's an exclusion on the plan because it's cosmetic, and so your insurance doesn't want to pay for it. Well then, even if you met your out-of-pocket max, you cannot get that service paid for by the insurance because it's an exclusion. Or if you went out of network, you still have an out-of-network, out-of-pocket max that you haven't met, and therefore you have to pay more money. So those are like the three big things that can really put you in a bind to where you still have to pay for the services. Another thing that you have to be aware of is that a lot of people believe that because an ambulance is showing in network, that they should have no cost, especially if they met their out-of-pocket max or their deductible. That is further from the truth. An ambulance is never in network with any insurance because they don't have to be. The only time you use an ambulance is when you are in a dire emergency, and at that point, you are not caring whether or not you are using insurance or not. And therefore, insurance will pay their portion, but that discount will not be honored by most ambulance carriers. You can try and get that discount honored, but at the end of the day, an ambulance does not have to accept that because they understand that honestly, the only rules they follow are the rules and regulations stated by their state or the state that you're in or city that you're in which you had the care serviced. Now, an ambulance is supposed to follow some general guidelines, like not charging too much more than the average cost of what an ambulance carrier does charge for that area, right? And so understanding that, you can kind of try and negotiate with what the average cost of an ambulance is. But again, there's not much negotiation to be done, and a lot of the times you might need a professional, and hopefully your employer has provided you with some professional resources if you should ever be in that situation. Now, when it comes to auto insurance, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Auto insurance is going to have some of the same principles, right? You have a premium that you pay every single month in order to have auto insurance. Maybe you pay it every 6 months or every year, similar to what I do. Now, I personally have State Farm for auto insurance. And State Farm, I pay them every 6 months just so I can get it out the way, and I believe it gives me like a small discount as well. Now, I have a deductible which will lower the amount that I have to pay for them monthly. Now, that payment that I pay to them monthly is a premium. That premium is just to keep the insurance active. And so when I pay all that 6 months in advance, that gives me the ability to say, okay, I'm going to get a discount because they know that I paid them up front, which is really servicing other people and not really servicing me. Auto insurance to me is a scam because I feel like if you have money in the bank, at least $25,000 to cover any bodily harm or injuries to someone else, you should not have to have auto insurance coverage. Because sometimes your liability insurance is just that, about $25,000. And so if you have the money, you should not need auto insurance coverage. That is my belief. But to each their own. And so unfortunately, I am forced to have auto insurance coverage that I will never use. And because of that, other people will be benefiting off of my own hard-earned money. With that being said, there is a deductible, right? So you pay your deductible in order to receive a benefit. A lot of the times, some of the repairs are going to be just as much as what the deductible is. And you don't want necessarily for your rate to go up just because you wanted to use the insurance to pay a claim that they won't even be paying, right? The insurance isn't going to pay a claim because your deductible was more than the cost of the service. So you're going to pay all of that yourself. So why even use the insurance and raise your interest rate, right? Raise your rate. And so all I would probably do is if I had a newer car and I wanted to get it fixed so it can look nice, I would just simply pay it myself. I wouldn't worry about using my insurance to pay the car because I just don't see the value in having an increased payment. I had another car insurance agent, I think it might have been Geico, that offered me just a slightly lower rate than what I was receiving. And they said, have you had any accidents? And I said, no. And they went back 4 years. So when I was driving back from Amazon, and mind you, it's like a 2-hour drive back then in 2020. Driving back from Amazon, I was rushing to get home. This is like, I loved my job at Amazon, but I was still rushing to get home because I was so tired. I just wanted to knock out and go to sleep. So I was driving at the speed of light into eternity. And when I turned in to get into the neighborhood in which I lived in, I ended up falling into a ditch. And because of the rain, because of everything that was going on, I could not get the car out of the ditch. And so I needed a tow in order to get me out of the ditch. And I called my insurance to do so. And because of that, that was on my car insurance record. And I have yet to check for how long they can keep that type of stuff on my record. But yeah, that was on my record with the car insurance, and I believe that it's 10 years, but I'm going to double check and see how long they can actually keep this stuff on my record. So they really went back 4 years and said, oh, but you had this service done 4 years ago, and because of that, your payment has gone up and increased. I just looked at them like, yo, I wish I didn't even need car insurance coverage. Like, I don't need it. Financially, I don't. And I'm just super upset that I even have to listen to someone tell me that. So with that being said, you didn't get my business, so congrats to you. And I went with the person who respected me and didn't have to bring that up. Now I understand that they're just doing their job and they're just offering a service that they're supposed to offer. But at the end of the day, there's risk involved with everything, and they're trying to mitigate the risk. However, I'm going to start looking for states that don't require auto insurance because I'm sure there's still some out there. There's 50 states for a reason, people. You can find what you want in this world. I'm telling you. Now, the last one is going to be homeowners insurance. With homeowners insurance, this one is a tricky and nasty one. I believe that everyone should have it because it covers the cost of your entire home. A lot of people's home is their biggest asset, and you don't want to be the one who gets caught skinny dipping when the tide runs out. This is a saying that everyone loves to say these days. So why should you have homeowners insurance? So you might not live in California where there's forest fires every single day, or you might not live in Florida where there's hurricanes and strong winds. You might not live in places where there's massive flooding and things of that nature. But, things can happen. Fires can happen. People can get hurt on your property. People can want to sue. Now, granted, I might be a hermit, never allow anyone into my home. I might just be minding my business, doing whatever it is that I do. And then for some reason, I still get caught up in something. Maybe a flash flood that continues for 2-3 days decides to take off a part of my roof. And, obviously a roof repair for me is not a big deal. But if it creates more and more damage to where the basement is flooded, to where this and this is that, what if I'm just gone for a week and now this home that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars is no longer what it was? And in order to repair it, I would need the total cost of the home. Right? I just saw a statement of what the total home cost would be for my home right now. And I don't have that sitting in a savings account to just say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pay that all over again. No. And so I say all that to say, like, if you're going to have a home, you should have 5 times the money or the cost of the home before you decide to forego insurance. So if your home costs $1 million, you need $5 million before you decide to not use homeowners insurance. And honestly, at that point, I'm not trying to spend 1/5 of my net worth on a home because I don't want to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a year on coverage. No, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be in a position to where I have to cough up that type of money. Now, granted, for a roof repair, I'm probably still going to pay for that out of my own pocket. I'm probably not going to use my homeowner's insurance policy. I'm probably trying to keep all those things as small as possible so that it never dings in the system. But at the same time, listen, if my roof repair costs $30,000 and I've been paying into the system for 10 years and now my roof finally needs repaired, I might just use it. I might just say, you know what, I deserve a break. And a $30,000 break sounds good right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But understand that you have a deductible to me. I think my deductible is like $4,000 or $5,000. So if a cost of a service isn't more than $5,000, at least like 10 grand or even 8 grand, I probably won't even go through my insurance for the service because it's not going to make financial sense for me to only spend 5 grand and get 3 grand from them. I might just go ahead and spend that whole money myself. Now, I'm not telling people to do that. Do your due diligence, do your research, and understand, is my housing insurance going to go up? It probably would go down with the new roof being installed. So you got to think about all those things. And yeah, I mean, insurance is really something that you plan your life around. Whether it's your health care, you have to plan for that. You have to plan for expenses. You have to plan for certain surgeries. So if you're going to get a surgery done, you probably want the best insurance that your employer offers at that time before you go and get it done. If you know your roof is going to need a repair very soon, you probably want a very small deductible for the year so that when you are looking to do that roof repair, you are able to just go ahead and get that done. You've been with the same insurance company, you've lowered your deductible, and then boom, you go ahead and pay that roof and you get tens of thousands of dollars to fix that roof and you're good to go. So yeah, you plan your life around that. You plan your life around your health. You plan your life around your homeowner's insurance. But as for the auto, if you have a car that's not paid off, you probably want the gap insurance. Things like that, especially if it's a brand new car, especially if you got it at a time where it was way overinflated and you paid way more than you should have. So those are the things that you want to look at when it comes to a car. Now, The majority of people probably should have auto insurance because their car is a fourth of their take-home pay. And so you obviously love it a lot more than I do. And if that is your guilty pleasure, then you should enjoy it to the max without feeling as though you'll lose it all in a day, right? And so having auto insurance will allow you that peace of mind. But as for me, I don't put that much love into a car, at least not right now. When I turn 30 and I get one of my, not going to say my dream car, but a much better car, maybe I'll feel the same way. Yeah, so I mean, if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and on Rumble, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace.